Alright everyone, welcome back to another Game Vault video. As always, I'm Captain Beefy with the Game Vault, and we're going to talk about Microsoft today on a story that was published at thatparkplace.com. I will leave a link to it down below in the description. Let's cue up the music and we'll get to talking here. Boom! Report. Microsoft axes an entire DEI team claiming DEI programs everywhere are no longer business critical or smart as they were in 2020. Now, I don't know about you, but I feel like this is a huge victory. Now, I haven't read this story yet, so we're going to read it together and kind of go through it and talk about it. But if this is the change that I believe was inevitable, and it's starting a little quicker than I thought it would. I thought it might take a couple more years before we start to see this kind of backlash come out. Now, I could be misreading this completely, and by the end of this video, I might be a little upset because it's not what I thought it was, but who knows? We'll check it out. Let's read on. The new report claims that Microsoft has eliminated an entire diversity, equity, and inclusion team with a manager claiming, as we said before, they're no longer smart. The new report comes from Business Insider's Ashley Stewart, who writes, after Microsoft laid off an internal team focused on DEI, the team leader blasted the company for a lack of investment in these efforts. I'm sure they did. They probably cried about it. They probably went on social media. They probably called whoever made the choice an ist and a phobe and all this other garbage, But good riddance to rubbish, man, because these people are horrible. They're a parasite on everything they touch. They ruin. The email from the manager stated in part, true systems change work associated with DEI programs everywhere are no longer business critical or smart as they were in 2020. The report also noted the team was eliminated because of changing business needs as of July 1st. Now, anyone who follows gaming, let alone my channel, whatever, but if you follow gaming, you'll know Microsoft's been in a little bit of, they haven't been having a good time of it these last couple years. They've released some really terrible games. They've closed down a couple studios. They've had to merge studios into other ones and lay off people left and right. And it's been horrible. And their games just haven't been. This generation, this console has not had that generation-defining game yet, that they've had in the past with the Halos and stuff like that. It's just been a flop, followed by a flop, followed by a cool indie game, followed by a decent game, followed by a flop, and it just seems to continue that route right now. And I'm not dunking on Microsoft at, being a PS fanboy, because PlayStation has had some good games, but they haven't had that defining game either yet. And I believe that DEI is a big weight on gaming, and it's kind of screwing things up quite a bit. So I'm hoping this is the step in the right direction. It's going to make gaming better for everybody, because that would be utterly fantastic. Despite the team being scrapped, Microsoft spokesman Jeff Jones did not commit the company to diversity and inclusion moving forward. He did commit it. Our D&I commitments remain unchanged, he states. He added, our focus on diversity and inclusion is unwavering, and we're holding firm on our expectations, prioritizing accountability and continuing to focus on this work. So, and here's the part where I was like, well, it could be disappointed. Now, what Jeff is saying here is that they remain unchanged, but they got rid of an entire team. So this could be something that ends up being backburnered quite a bit. Maybe he's just saying that to placate people right now. Who knows, as they're testing the water. Because a lot of times these big companies, and you see it everywhere in gaming and entertainment and all that, they want to test the waters a little bit. Somebody's going to throw something out there, something crazy, and then they see what happens with it. And if people like it, they're like, oh yeah, maybe we'll go with that. If people dunk all over it, they're like, maybe we shouldn't do that, So this could be something that they've thrown out there, and they're like, all right, let's throw this out there and let's see what the backlash is. Are we going to get more praise, or are we going to get more backlash? And they're going to kind of weigh themselves moving forward there. I could be wrong, I could be wrong. This could be just wishful thinking, but this could be a huge win if it goes in the direction that I hope it goes. Now, this commitment was made evident when the company rolled out its Gaming for Everyone product inclusion framework earlier this year. The head of Gaming for Everyone, Katie Jo Wright, another woman, I mean, get out of gaming, you white women. You white liberal women are disgusting. But she explained the purpose of the framework in an interview with Games Industry. If you don't intentionally include, you'll unintentionally exclude. That's how we are as human beings. There's no shame in that. If you want to include, you have to be intentional about it. Or you just make good games there, Katie, Joe, right? Just make good games and people will buy them. Doesn't matter what their characters are. You don't... God, it's stupid. But the framework includes 10 product inclusion actions. One of those actions is titled Help Customers Feel Seen. Underneath this action, Microsoft lists a number of questions game developers should consider when developing their games. Are you reinforcing any negative gender stereotypes? Are you unnecessarily introducing gender and gender barriers in your code or design? This is coming from a woman. Okay, so here's a stereotype. Women lead too much by emotion and not by logic. And that is why they destroy everything they touch in entertainment. They're not good at this. You can count good female film directors on one hand. Literally, on one hand. You can count male directors on, several hands. But female directors on one hand. Most of them churn out garbage. Just absolute garbage. Are you creating playable female characters that are equal in skill and ability to their male peers? Are female characters equipped with clothing and armor that fits their task? Do they have exaggerated body proportions? First off, women do not have equal skills and abilities to men. Okay, I'm sorry. That's just the way it goes. Women were designed for one function. Men were designed for another function. They're not interchangeable. Okay, it's something that this is the way it's been since the dawn of man. Okay, women create life, and they're nurturers, and they raise families, and they're good at these things. They're excellent at these things. Teaching and all that, Men, we build stuff. We fight. We expand. We build a home for our family. We protect our woman. We protect our children while she raises them. And that's hardwired into us. So it's just so stupid. We do not have the same skills and abilities. And it shows. And it shows when you put out, when we've gotten so many women in gaming now. I remember that picture from Ubisoft a month or so ago, where there was like 100 women. I think there was one, and they're all white women, I think, except for like one black girl, and that's the one that works for Black Girl Gamers or was it Sweet Baby Inc. I don't remember. And then I think there was one homosexual in there as well. But it's just stupid. It's like, no wonder you're churning out garbage. You have that as your team. And I'm sorry, women. I'm sorry to say that, but liberal white women are the absolute worst. Absolute worst. So anyway, the customer feels seen product inclusion action page also includes a checklist so developers can achieve their goals, create and surface content that depicts diverse character stories and creators. No, just create playable characters that are fun to play. Here's what I would say. Create playable characters that are fun to play. Make sure that character is cool. Okay, no, that's it. And make sure the game is fun. And there you have it, Create a good character, have a great story, make the gameplay fun, sell your product, go for it. All this other garbage, this is all garbage. This is all a waste. People don't need all this shit. It just muddies the water when it comes to gaming, and it makes games worse. It doesn't make games better. I've asked the question before, and I'll ask it again here. When has DEI made something better? When has it made a TV show better, a movie, a video game, real life? I mean, we're seeing it in real time here. We saw the Secret Service protecting President Donald Trump, and those three bumbling women when they're trying to get him into the car. You got one bumbling and fumbling, dropping her gun everywhere. The other just worried about putting her glasses on. The other one just turning circles. They didn't know what they were doing. I'm sorry, women cannot do everything men can do, and I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. And they're not, or they can, but not at the same level. I don't want women in war. I don't want women fighting in my armed services. That's not to say they can't join the military and enjoy the benefits that it does offer them, but put them in non-combat positions. You know what I mean? Do it like that. Utilize their talents and don't exploit their weaknesses. My God. It's not rocket science, but anyway. The company also employs proud racists such as Kelly Lombardi, who posted to X in March, raise your hand if you're not a white man and you buy video games. She added, no hate to white dudes, just another day in the gaming industry that minorities have to fight to prove they exist. No, you don't. You just open your big fat mouth, Kelly. We all know you're out there because you force yourself into every single game and you make it worse every single time you do it. We know you're out there. We're just sick of seeing your faces. God. Not only does the company employ individuals like Kelly Lombardi, but it uses video games to push disordered lifestyles and evil ideologies. Yeah, we saw this last month with Happy Pride Month, and this is something I'm hoping is going away, and hopefully it will within the next 4 to 5 years because, you know, everybody's tired of Pride Month. It's just this weird, gross display of sexual perversion. They want to throw these freaking parades in front of children, and you got men just totally naked on bicycles and all this weird crap. It's gross. It's gross. It's absolutely disgusting. You know, Pride's one of the 7 deadly sins. We don't have Deadly Sin Month. You know, we don't get the other 6 of them out there. We don't have Gluttony Month. You know, we don't have Lust Month or anything like that. Although Pride is pretty close to lust. You know, because they're absolute filthy. It's absolutely gross. Yeah, we also talked about Marty O'Donnell, you know, how he talked way back in 2002 with Halo 2 and having dervishes in the game, a character called a dervish, and they were worried it was going to offend the Muslim community so short after 9/11. This is back in, you know, the Stone Age of video game wokeness. You know, this is kind of back where it began and all that. So we're getting a really mixed message here, right? They canceled and shut down a diversity department. Is it just because they had too many of them? And, you know, because they've had to shut down so many studios that they had, you know, it's like, well, we got this one DEI team, we don't need them. Is that what the case is? Or is this kind of a throwing it out there to see what the reaction is going to be from the community and from gaming in general? Are they going to be praised for this? Are they going to be seen as, hey, you guys are a leader in the industry because you're doing this. You're finally making a stand and trying to get gaming back into a normal sphere and get it out of this weird place that it is now where everybody has to be a black lesbian, you know, or whatever, or just it's an absolute shit show right now and it needs to be cleaned up. Hopefully Microsoft's making that first step in the right direction. If they're not, they're not. What can you do about it? Nothing, right? So anyway, let me know what you think down in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, you know, ring that bell for notifications. I will see you guys next time. Until then, peace.